Hello, my name is Ana Mariscal,
I'm Tatiana Rivera.
and we are Ana and Tatiana, and we are two grad students, Latinas, that are very excited to share with you how we survive, or we are in the process of surviving grad school.
Yep, we've been in grad school for about a year now. We just started our second year. We're in grad school for sociology, so hell yeah, the social sciences.
Yay!
But we have 10 tips on how to survive grad school just on the basis. If you guys have more, you're welcome to put them in the comments and let us know.
All right, so the first one we're going to talk about is know your passion. So a lot of students, when they go into grad school, they don't know why they want to do it. They just think, oh, well, I should probably try it, or I don't know what else to do with my life. And that's okay, but you need to know why you are pursuing that particular degree. So the one thing you need to know about grad school is that it takes a tremendous amount of work. It takes a lot of your time, a lot of your effort. You can't just go in it, willy-nilly and you don't know what you're doing. So know that it's going to take a lot of you, and a lot of times you're just going to get tired of it. So if you don't choose something you're passionate about, you're more likely to give up. Also start thinking about, what your end is going to be. Do you want to go to a PhD program? Do you want to get a job afterwards? Are you writing a thesis? Are you not writing a thesis? Those are all things you have to start thinking as soon as you can, so that you know where your academic career is going to take you.
Yeah.
That's number one. Know your passion. Know why you're doing it.
Yeah. Number two is don't aim for perfection. It's a waste of time. Sometimes your work won't be perfect, and that's okay, especially if it is your first essay or first assignment in class. Again, grad school is very different than your undergrad, so you're going to mess up here and there. Not everyone, even though it appears that maybe some of the older ones have their crap together, they do not. Trust me. Befriend those people. They will tell you and give you more tips on how to survive grad school. And also, your team, so your cohort that you enter in, people around you in grad school, and your professors are also a great source for you. Talk to them, see how they went through the process of grad school. See if they have tips and tricks or something like that. But also just they will help you relate to them. Nobody's perfect. We all screw up every once in a while. There may be one class in which you will struggle with more than others, but that's okay.
Yeah, that is okay. Yeah, I feel like it's scary. A lot of people want to make sure that all their shit is together from the very start, and it's not. It's not going to be. And the more you put yourself out there, the more you allow for your professors and your coworkers or your colleagues to help you, give you advice and try to be a better writer. That's what Tatiana did for me. We're close friends, and I was able to learn from her all the things that I wasn't good at, and I hope vice versa.
Yeah, of course.
But we can go ahead and move on to number 3.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you have the opportunity, I know this doesn't work for everyone, but try to be a TA, a teacher assistant, or an RA, which is a research assistant. You have got to try and apply for those jobs as soon as you have the availability, because they will put you at your college campus when you're already there. You're able to, balance your grad work with the TA and RA work so much easier than if you were driving down to Starbucks for your shift. The pay may not always be great, but it's going to be about the same as any other part-time job or sometimes full-time job. So be smart about what you want to do while you're going to school. But definitely one of our best tips is being a TA, being an RA. Not only will it help you in your grad experience, but it will also help you when you get to your PhD programs if you want to continue to a PhD.
Yeah, and there are other types of benefits from being a TA or an RA, is that is mostly office space. If your program does have the office space, you will get a desk and you'll have all of your things there. Therefore, if you commute like I do, I commute an hour to get to school, you can have your things in your office and therefore not always be back and forth and you miss this at home and you miss this over there that way. So that is a really good thing. I was a TA and an RA my first semester, and it did help me tremendously. Anna and I were kind of friends that semester, but we became friends mostly the second half of our first year. But now Anna's a TA and an RA, and the work might be difficult, but at the end of the day, you know that it will be worth it since it will help you much better to get to in a PhD. And something that we didn't mention, and we should mention right now, is that we're in a single MA program. Most PhDs have an MA and a PhD combined together. We're just in a single one, as our university does not provide the entire PhD experience.
Yeah. Well, we are both on the PhD track. We would like to continue on to a PhD, so that's why we are thinking with the end in mind.
Exactly.
All right, so you're next. So number 4.
Now I'm next. Next one is gather/form a support system within your program. So a lot of this you will find within your own cohort. It will make readings and assignments that much easier since you can divide up the work. So if you have one book to read for one class, look at your cohort, see if you can dedicate a couple of chapters each, and then have like one Google Doc or just one form and you can share it and have all the notes there. That way you're not doing all of the work, you're not incredibly stressed, and you have other people who will help you within your journey. Also, remember that these are people who will understand what you're feeling. They're going through it with you. Mm-hmm. They enter at the same time, and they're most likely going to graduate with you also at the same time. So you don't feel so alone at the end of the day. Grad school can be incredibly lonely at times because a lot of people don't understand it, but it could also be incredibly rewarding with the people that you actually make friends with. Mm-hmm. Also, these are people that you can also hang out with outside of school. Remember that grad school, and this is something we'll mention a little bit later, is not all about just studying and working. Grad school is also about forming relationships and forming memories and experiences that you will keep for the rest of your life. People have said that college is like the way you form all these memories and form all these friendships. Maybe you didn't do that for your undergrad, but you will certainly do that for your grad because there's much more work and it's much longer than your undergrad. Mm-hmm. You have anything else?
I think that, no, just if you're the kind of person that is shy, you just have to, get some courage and throw yourself out there, because I know that a lot of grad students are they don't know how to approach, cohorts that have already been there. And you kind of get that feeling like when you were a freshman in high school, you're like, oh, you don't want to talk to the big seniors because they already have their shit together. But the truth is, like Tatiana said earlier, no one has to shit together. Everyone is, scatterbrained and trying to pull their lives together. You just kind of have to be the person that just asks, and we'll get to that in our next point. But when creating your cohort and creating the people that you have to just get over your shyness and talk to people. Just talk to people.
Exactly.
What number are we on?
Number 5. We're going number 5.
Find quiet study spaces if you're on campus. So the other side of that is you might fall into the danger of always socializing and always talking to people, which is a good thing. But every once in a while, because you're an adult and you're in grad school, you have to just buckle down, find a quiet area to study, and get your work done. And you can do that with your colleagues, which is what we do. We find little quiet places around campus, your library, whatever commons area you have where people sit down to get their work done. Familiarize yourself with them, go explore. Most of this throughout universities are going to be open 24/7, or there's a schedule you can look into, but just go, utilize it to your advantage. I think that's it for that one.
Yeah, and if your department has dedicated study rooms for your major, for grad students, ask your professors, ask people who are in charge of the department, because they will most likely give you access to most of these rooms. We have a couple in our department that we can just reserve for an hour or two and just do your work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we're on 6.
Yeah, number 6, use technology to your advantage. So your school has a library database in which you can find all this literature, because something that we do in grad school a lot is write a lot of research papers. You're going to need a lot of citations to back up what you're saying and what you're researching. So use your library database. It is the best one out there, but Google Scholar is also really good. Sometimes Google Scholar, you can't access certain things, but maybe just look for it in a Google Scholar and just search it on your library database. Most likely your library will have it. Mm-hmm. Your library also will have people who are assigned to your department. So ask those people, where is this? Where's that? Where can I look for this? They will help you. Also, other technology that your university has that's free to use, utilize it. Computers, programs, TVs, scanners, whatever they have, use it to your advantage, because it will make your life a whole lot easier. Also, apps. Anna showed me a very good one called Genius Scan, in which you can scan things on your phone and send it to your email. That way you don't have to scramble and be like, I have to scan something, where do I do this? It's just on your phone. It's cool. Also Spotify. Spotify has so many playlists, instrumental playlists for you. If you're someone who just likes music when you're just reading like I do, then use these playlists to your advantage and just listen to them when you're with someone. Like that's what Anna and I do, just plug in our headphones, read with each other, and it's just nice to have quiet time with someone else who's right there with you.
All right, awesome. Number 7 is prioritize your education. So I feel like we need to talk a little bit about our background here. Yeah. So I am Mexican. I was born in Mexico. I immigrated here when I was 9 years old. Tatiana?
I'm Puerto Rican. I technically was born in Ohio, but I moved to Puerto Rico with my very Puerto Rican family when I was about 3 years old. Stayed until I was 17, so my first language is technically Spanish. I moved to where we currently are about 7 years ago, so I'm still not completely used to it.
So the reason I say that is because we come from a culture, a Latinx culture, and as Latinas, we strongly identify as Latinas. It's very important to us. Education may not always be a priority. You have a lot of responsibilities at home. If you have kids, if you have a big family, if you're taking care of your parents, your siblings, we understand. We've been through a lot of that. And so it gets to a point in your life where it's very difficult to make those decisions. It's a very tough decision. Do you want to focus on education? You try to do both, but you end up failing because you can't give yourself to both. So I'm not trying to say that you should choose school over your family. But for example, if you have a job, if you have something that is pulling you away from your education and you see that you're failing or that you're not giving it your all, remember why you were there in the first place. You have to prioritize your education at some point. If that means you need to switch jobs or you need to move cities or you need to, put aside family sometimes, because sometimes family is the one thing that pulls you away from your education. But it's important, and it's not something that is forever.
Exactly.
Your family will be there and they will love you and support you if they know that what you're doing is something important to you. So for me, that was really important in surviving grad school, is I had to prioritize my education over everything else, even my job. And not everyone can do that, but maybe we could make a video later about our experiences and what we had to do. I had to quit my full-time job in order to go back to grad school, and we can talk about that if you want to hear more about it. But definitely prioritizing your education. It's difficult to find that balance, but it can be done. Sometimes you just have to choose.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Something else.
Oh, you want to say something else?
Something else I want to add. There is a stigma around the Latinx community about education, especially higher education. Both of us are first generations, so we understand that, and we know that it can be difficult, just like Anna said. But something to remember is that you're getting this education for a reason. Always remember that reason. That reason may change sometimes. You'd be like, I just want to get a better job, or I want to better myself, or I want to do better for my community, for my family. Remember that reason, and it will get you far.
Yeah.
Number 8, which we think is very important, set time aside for self-care. Okay, we know that it is very difficult to balance everything in your life, school, work, family, but you need that time by yourself in order to center yourself, in order to remind yourself why you're doing this, because not you're just going to burn out. Like, for example, if you notice my attire, I'm very much into working out. I set aside about an hour and a half to work out, and that is my time for my self-care, in which I just blank out the world, and this is where I focus on myself and focus on bettering myself in a physical way and also in a mental way, not just for my education. And if you hate working out, find someone to work out with. Anna and I are someone that we work out with together occasionally. Find group classes, find something. Eat healthy, because it will make you feel better at the end of the day. Do some things where traditionally self-care, which is like do things for your hair, do things for your face, yeah, exactly.
Treat yourself.
Exactly. Pedicures, manicures, shave your legs. Okay, we know the struggle. Shave your legs, and it will make a difference.
Unless you don't want to, that's okay too.
Exactly, unless you don't want to. But if it does make you feel better, we're all in for it, actually.
Yeah, and it is important. Like, I wanted to add that Tatiana is one of the people that supported me into getting back into working out, because I may not look like I work out, but I do. I try. We're also vegetarian, so we try to vary our diet, and every once in a while we still treat ourselves. We're not dieters, but we do like to eat healthier. We notice that it matters, because those long nights of doing your work, the research after research, writing our thesis, it takes so much of you that if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not trying to sleep when your body tells you to sleep, if you're not feeding it the right healthy fuel, you're not going to make it. That's just the reality. So take care of yourself, take mental breaks, and that's what it's included in the self-care. Take care of you, because you need it in order to be successful.
Yeah, and don't feel guilty about taking a couple of hours off on a Saturday because you're not researching or anything. Don't feel guilty about it. Trust me, you will work a whole lot better after this break. Your brain will be a whole lot clearer, and you'll just feel generally better once you take it. It's just like to play video games, to watch a movie, watch a show, sleep. Sleep is very important in grad school. We almost don't get any of it. Yeah. But if you take 30-minute naps here and there, it will make a whole lot of difference. And that's what we want. We want you and all of us, when we finish our grad school journey, to not be shell of a person, to be better people and have that degree and keep our mental capacity intact.
Yeah. So the next one, number 9, is question everything. You are a grad student, yes, and in a lot of universities you're going to feel like that lonely grad student that nobody listens to. You're just there to run errands. But the truth is that you are a human being, and I don't know about you guys, but being a Latina, I was taught to stand up for myself and question everything. And I know that comes with a little bit of privilege, but at the same time, if we don't stand up for ourselves, no one will. And what I mean by question everything, I don't mean be rude or disrespectful. What I mean is that if something doesn't make sense to you, or you feel like certain groups are being left out, or you feel like you just simply need to speak up and voice your opinion, voice your concern, it is just as important as everyone else's. We've had several experiences where we are the only Latinas in an entire sea of, white people, especially in academia, because we are the minority. Sorry about the coughing. That's our friend. She's okay.
She's a camera woman behind us.
But, you have to engage with the academic world. You have to understand that what you have to say is important. And so, like I said, you have to get out of your shell. You have to be brave. And respectfully and, with evidence, with research, be confident in what you have to say.
Yeah.
And if somebody you feel is being unfair, or some systematic choice or policy doesn't make sense, you're not to question it. I don't know about you, but yo no me dejo. I say something,
Exactly.
I go look for the right people that can help me with my concern, and a lot of times it gets taken care of. Most of the time it gets taken care of because, I have my reputation to back me up and to help me with it. I got my shit together when I can, and we try to be good students. We try to mind,
be respectful as much as we can.
Yeah. But there's, if you guys have had any experiences where you feel like you were kind of shut down because of being Hispanic, or because you were
also a gender thing.
It could be a gender thing, or maybe you just are because you're a grad student and people don't respect you because you I don't know, for whatever stupid reason. Let us know.
Because we're inferior to them or something. We're not professors yet.
So another thing is that in order to engage in the academic world, you have to be prepared. So don't be the person, that douchebag that wants to contradict everything and they haven't even done reading. Like, you have to be prepared. And a lot of classes in grad school, it's a lot like a panel where everybody kind of has discussions and you have critical thinking, and you want to analyze the stuff that you're reading about. These are people that have done research for decades, and you want to make sure to contribute by being prepared. If you're not prepared, then your contribution is not going to matter. That's just my 2 cents for that.
No, it's a very good thing. I agree with everything that she says. And something that I was told a lot, which is why I made this point in our thing, because I was told a lot as a kid, curiosity killed a cat. And that's not true. The entire
who said that?
Exactly. The entire phrase is curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back, which means that your curiosity, you need to fulfill it. You need to look what you want to look. You need to research what you want to research. And once you research it, once you question it, once you research it, you feel a whole lot better, and the world's a whole lot better in the end. Especially if you question types of authority who are literally being just assholes, because they can be, because they have the PhD attached to their name. And that's not the truth, especially when you're a minority. So
question everything.
Exactly.
All right, last one.
Number 10, and this is our last one, it is remember that you are enough and you deserve to be here. You went through the application process, you did your undergrad, you got into grad school, congratulations. Now you need to get through it and remember that you should be there. Many times you'll feel out of touch and you feel like you can't do this, and sometimes in our cases there's the thing called imposter syndrome, where you feel like you have this title and you have all this information, but you feel like you shouldn't have it, or you're just, like for us, we're TAs, and sometimes we feel like we're just fulfilling people's shoes that we shouldn't be in. Remember that you need to be here, and you fought your way here. Especially for us being Latinas and being women and just being minorities in general, we fought our way here. We need to be here. It's hard to be confident, positive all the time, but remember that nobody is. We're all just floundering too. So just remember that confidence and positivity is important, but you also need that negativity sometimes in your life. You need to feel sad sometimes, and you need that.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, just remember you have to be here. And again, you know, all your professors were grad students too. They know how this feels. And sometimes even if you talk to your professors and really get to know them, like we've gone to, you know, a couple of ours, they sometimes even feel like imposters still at this age.
Yeah, they still struggle with their research. I mean, it's hard to get published and,
Yes.
you know, be well known in your research area. And we're in sociology, so, you know, a lot of our professors still feel that way. And being a social science, I guess.
Yeah, in general.
But any subject, you're going to feel that way because you're going into a world of literally the top researchers in your field. And these are the people that are going to create changes and policies in the future, because that is, you're adding to the knowledge base. And a lot of times people don't feel like they are qualified to do that, but you are. I mean, that's what academia is. So
Exactly. Academia is a very hard role to get into, but you just got into the first steps. So
yeah, so that's it for today. We wanted to talk about the 10 tips on surviving grad school. So we are Ana and Tatiana. Tell us in the comments if you like our contributions and if you'd like to see some more.
yeah, and if you have any other ideas for other videos on just surviving grad school in general, we're grad students. If you want to hear something from us, leave it down in the comments. Hopefully we'll have all, maybe our social media and things like that, we can reach us and things like that. But I think that's it, so
Y'all
peace
have an
out.
awesome day. All right.
Yay! Can you stop it please, because it's still recording?
That's okay. I like it.